Hey everybody, Steve here, and welcome to another AFR scouting report where we take a preview at an upcoming game. Today we're taking a look at Pigskin from Roar Art Games, designed by Royce Banuelos. This game is due to launch on Kickstarter July 10th, so if you like what you see here, be sure to head on over to their Kickstarter page. Now, this is a game that's designed for 2 players, but it can expand to 3 or 4, and it will have a variant rule set for a solo game as well, but I'm going to be focusing on the 2-player game for this preview. Now, Pigskin is played out over 4 rounds, and each round has 5 steps. First, you and your opponents will each be dealt 5 cards. And then in the next step, you'll draft. And how this works is you'll select one of the cards that you were dealt, and then you'll pass your hand to your opponents, and you'll continue this until you've selected 5 cards. Then comes the play phase, and we'll highlight that in just a minute. Next, you'll do the scoring phase, where you'll see who won that round. And then finally, you'll discard your cards, and then set it up and do it again. At the end of the 4th round, you'll tally up to see who won some bonus points, and I'll show you what those are here in just a minute. And whoever has the most points at the end wins the game. Now, I'm going to show you how everything works. I will just say, keep in mind that the parts I'm showing you are all prototype components, although the artwork on them is very close to what will be on the final version of the cards. Alright, so let's take a look at how Pigskin plays in this AFR scouting report. Okay, so let's first take a quick look at all the components of the game. First, there are football tokens, and these are what you're going to use during the play step of a round to keep track of how many touchdowns you've scored. And then there are point tokens, and in the final version of the game, these tokens will be 3 points, and the 1-point tokens will be the same size. You get 4 double-sided cards that are quick reference for the game. It comes with 7 bonus cards, and each game you're going to deal out 3 of these randomly, and these are what you'll get bonus points for at the very end of the game after you've gone through the 4 rounds, and we'll show you how those work in our playthrough. And then finally, there, of course, are the cards themselves. Now, there's going to be 3 different kinds of cards. There'll be O cards, which are offensive, D cards, which are defensive, and then finally there'll be QB cards, which stands for quarterback. And then there are 4 different colors of these cards: blue, gray, orange, and purple. And there is a whole nother deck of cards if you're playing with 3 or 4 players, and they'll be designated with a note down here that lets you know to only use them in 3 or 4 player games. So the basics of how a game is going to work is during each round, you and your opponent are going to be revealing 4 of your 5 cards, and then you'll compare them to see who has scored any touchdowns. So we'll say this is player 1 up top and player 2 on the bottom. And so what you're going to do is, for every football on the card, you'll score once. And then for every crossed out football, you'll prevent your opponent from scoring one. So in this case, nobody would score any points. And then in the subsequent steps of the round, when you play the second cards, that's when the colors and the special abilities of the cards will come into effect. So let's say for the next round, the cards are revealed. And so first, we see that neither team has actually scored one from their card, but then there'll be a color bonus. So because this card is orange and the card played before it was orange, they would score an additional touchdown. And then this card below, you'll see, has a special ability, and that's going to have a colored circle there. If that matches the color of the card played previously, you'll get that bonus. So in this case, a star player gives that team an immediate point. So player number 2 would score 1. You're going to do this 4 times for the round, and then at the end of it, you'll count up who has the most touchdown tokens, and whoever does, they're going to get 3 points. And then you'll discard all the cards, and you'll start again. Now at the end of the game, you're going to go through your discard pile, and you'll count up all of the different cards that you have, and that's where you're going to get the bonus points. So let's say for a game that we had these 3 out, so whoever had the most O's would get the bonus points, would get 2 points. Whoever had the most purple would get 2 points. And then whoever has the most blue would get 2 points as well. Then once that's all done, you total up the total points for the game, and whoever has the most wins. Alright, so let's take a look at the other special abilities. Alright, so we already saw the star player. He gets you 1 extra point. A kickoff return will get you an extra touchdown token. An injury will remove 1 point from your opponent that they've already scored. And then finally, here on this, it's labeled as an interception, but in the final version of the game, it's going to be called a turnover. And what this does, if your opponent at the same time had revealed a card with a special ability, so let's say you matched up these two, not only would it cancel your opponent's special ability, but you would get double whatever that bonus would have been. So in this case, if player 1 reveals an interception and player 2 has an injury, player 1 would take 2 points away from player 2. So that can be definitely a big swing in the games. And if player 2 had revealed a kickoff return and player 1 revealed the turnover, then they would score 2 extra touchdowns. Alright, so let's go through a sample play real quick. We'll show you how the draft works, and then we'll go through a full round to show you what the game looks like in play. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, we'll shuffle up the bonus cards, and we'll deal out 3 of them to see what the bonuses we're going to be going after during the game are. So for this game, the most orange cards will score 2 bonus points, the most QBs, and the most purple. So we'll be keeping that in mind as we're drafting our cards over the course of the game. Alright, we'll give the cards a shuffle, and then we'll deal each player out 5 cards. So player 1, take a look at his cards, and he's going to decide that he wants to keep the purple quarterback. And he'll put those cards down. Player 2 will be doing the same thing, and he'll keep the gray quarterback. And then each player would swap hands. Now player 1 gets the cards that player 2 just had. He'll take a look and decide he's going to continue collecting QBs. Player 2 will decide to get a little defense. And then each of the players will continue doing this until you have drafted a hand of 5 cards. So now we're ready to begin play. Player 1 takes a look at the cards that he's drafted, and deciding the order that you play the cards in is where the strategy really lies in this. So as you can see, he's got 2 special abilities. This one needs a blue player, which he doesn't have, and this one needs an orange player. So we're going to decide to lead with our defensive card to try to string together a color combo from the orange cards. And player 2 selects a card, and then you reveal them at the same time. So no scores for player 1. Player 2 would score twice, but the defense knocks one of them down. And then you're ready for the next steps. So now we're going to look through again, and we'll decide to play our next orange card. We'll see what player 2 reveals. Okay, So we score once, but we're going to score again because of the color match. And then the star player gives us an immediate point. Player 2 would score once there, and there's no color bonus and no special play bonus because the color there doesn't match the first card. And so we're going to do this 2 more times. And then once 4 cards have been played by each side, you go through and count up the touchdowns. So in this case, player 1 has 3, player 2 has 2 of them. So player 1 would score 3 points. Remember, these are going to be 3 in the final version. And we take the card that we didn't play and put these in our discard pile. And then we'd go through and do this 3 more times for 3 more rounds. And then go through again at the game, count up points, see who has the most orange, the most QBs, the most purple. They'll get the bonus points, and then whoever has the most at the end of that wins the game. Okay guys, so there's a look at Pigskin. As you can see, a nice light card drafting game that will make a really nice filler for your next game night. This game, it does play really well with 2 players, and one of the biggest compliments I can give this game is I actually got my wife to play a game of this, and she enjoyed it. And it was very easy to teach, very easy to get into, and it's one of those games, when you first look at it, it doesn't look like much, but there is definitely a nice layer of strategy in trying to match the colors, and then matching up the special plays, and deciding which order you're going to play your cards out in. But there's not so much that'll lead to a lot of analysis paralysis, and you can go right through a game in like 10-15 minutes. If this is something that looks interesting to you, you're looking for a nice light card game, definitely head over and check out the Kickstarter for the game. Once the Kickstarter is out, I'll add a link to this video, and I'll put a link up to their Board Game Geek page so you can check that out in the meantime. Alright guys, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on the AFR Scouting Report.